Vamos a ver. Vamos a esperar. Ahí está Miguel.
What's up, boss? How's it going, man?
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien. ¿Y usted?
Aquí nomás irá.
Todo bien, todo bien. Echándole ganas, no hay de
Sí,
otra.
ah,
Claro que sí.
yeah, yeah. So how you been, man? Good?
I'm
Todo
good.
bien?
I'm good. Staying in the gym, staying in shape. Hopefully, there's a lot of offers being made to us. So hopefully, we get a good fight in October, man. That's what we're really hoping for, and it looks like it'll happen in October.
Or in October?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's I can't talk much about it right now, but hopefully the date will be October 13th, and it's a big fight. So once I have more this week, I should have a lot more info on it. So hopefully that goes into play, and that's the reason why we didn't fight August 12th because of we had a bigger offer, so we didn't want to risk anything happening. Not just getting hit with a headbutt or a cut or something. You never know. So we didn't want to risk it. And like I said, hopefully this October fight gets made.
Sí. So, todo va bien entonces.
Sí, no, sí, todo bien. A lot of people were actually worried. They're like, "Man, are you okay? Are you fine?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good." It's just, I mean, a lot of it sometimes it's just being smart. Obviously, as fighters, we want to fight. We want to fight. Like back in the day, I was looking like you seen that Un Round Mas
Sí.
interviews, and they have a lot of the old school fighters there. Yori Boy
Yeah.
Campas, el Maestrito Lopez. They have all those real OGs, and they
Yeah.
talk how they used to fight like every fucking 2 months. Boom, they will have fights. And it's not like that no more. We can't. Well, not that we can't. Like we don't have nobody backing us to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Entonces, we have to say what we can get. And like I said, I wanted to fight August 12th, and I wanted to fight here for my people, but pues, obviously, we couldn't do it. Like I said, my promoter, I'm still with PBC, so they still had bigger plan for us. So I'm just, I just, my job, like I tell them, man, my job is to train and hope for the best, and that's the best I can do. And it's even better, man. I've been in camp for about 6 weeks. I've been running, staying in shape. So if this October deal gets made, then that means I just gotta, turn it up for the next 7 weeks, and man, I'm gonna be in great shape.
Sí. Yeah. That's funny because I was watching that the Eric Morales one. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, sí, con Eric Morales y Marco Antonio Barrera. Yeah, they have a really good show there, man, going on.
Yeah, I was watching that one. I think that was Yori Boy Campas. I think that was cool. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they have a lot of the guys. Like, I mean, they have a lot of old school guys, and they have a lot of the newer generation. I know they had El Vaquero Navarrete. They had Venado. They have a lot of good guys on there, man. So, like I said, and it's more than an interview. It's more like just chill. They kick it. They tell their stories. They just say how sometimes they had a crazy story going on. I know they had Jose Luis Castillo on there,
But yeah,
and he was Julio Cesar Chavez's main sparring partner, and they're like, man, tell us a story about Chavez. And he like, man, I can't put Chavez out there like that. And
yeah,
it's a fun show, man. It's a fun show to have. And pues como te digo, I mean, they're doing good for the keeping our name out there even after they're retired. They're still getting because back then there wasn't much social media, so they keeping the OGs and still, their face showing. So that's always good.
yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, but who would even think that Barrera and Morales would have a talk, a podcast? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the motherfuckers really hated
Yeah,
each other, man.
hey, man.
that, that was that was real beef. That's real beef that they had there because a lot of the fighters nowadays, they talk and then after the fight they're cool. Nah, those dudes had real beef even after the fight. They were still trying to go at each other. So that was that's what made it one of the best trilogies out there in boxing.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but like a while back, como que nomás estaba Morales, when he was doing the little podcast.
Well, they even had beef there too, because
Yeah,
something about Morales was showing up late, and something
yeah,
about Morales said that Barrera was saying it was his show, and then Barrera was like, "Nah, I never said that," and it
yeah,
was like, man, even now, I still you still have that kind of tension in between them, how they're always kind of throwing like little like slurs at each other. So it's a good show though. It's a good show that they got going on there.
yeah. It was crazy because I remember I was like, damn man, yo pienso que todavía tienen
Yeah,
ese poquito de
yeah, sí, sí, todavía se tienen como un poquillo de rencor, de envidia.
¿sí?
And to me, I think it's Morales, to be honest, because to me, Barrera. Everybody knows Barrera is my favorite fighter, but I always feel like Morales has that. Like, I don't know, he never gives credit to like Mexican fighters. Like even him saying that when Marquez knocked out Pacquiao, he was like that was a lucky punch, and him just even I don't know if you noticed cuando peleó el vaquero Navarrete con Oscar Valdez, Barrera was getting up, clapping, and then if you look at them, Morales was just there sitting down, like he wasn't amazed, like he was just there, like you could get that vibe from him, like he don't get down like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they were good ass fights, but you know what I'm saying? Those I like the first Barrera one was badass.
Yeah, no, those were real grilling. Like I said, those guys really, really hated each other. They didn't like each other, and I still don't think they don't like each other. They said que fue Julio Cesar Chavez that brought them together and kind of told them like,
Yeah,
"Hey, squash the beef and this and that." But I'm like, nah, a rivalry like that, I don't think you could just go on and squash the beef. Like I said, they're still always
yeah.
arguing and complaining and stuff.
Ese te dice, siempre va a estar esa espinita ahí que te está
Sí,
calando.
see, see. And I think, like I said, I think that's on Morales' side because
Yeah,
he lost two times, and Barrera got the best of him. I think Barrera made clear that third one that he was always a better fighter than him.
you know what? Right now that we're talking about Morales, I heard that se fue el Munguía del campamento que lo dejó.
Oh, really? That's true. I did hear that he was gonna start working with Freddie Roach, but I thought that Morales was still gonna be part of the camp. So
Well,
that
I don't know.
means he's not.
But I just heard that que he moved, that he just went with Roach. I don't know. Um, I was just thinking, man, maybe because Morales, I don't know, maybe he's
He
always
you can tell he's a guy that likes things done his way.
yeah,
And as a fighter, if you don't like the way something's working for you, pues entonces no lo vas a hacer. Y pues él se ve como que quiere que las cosas se hagan a su manera y pues es difícil. Un peleador como Munguía, es mexicano y pues no va a hacer caso en todo. Obviamente él también tiene sus formas de hacer las cosas.
y yo pienso como que Barrera, a Morales le gusta más take his time to get to the level where Munguia wants to get, but he's more the old school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ahora maybe that's probably what it is, but
And I feel like Munguia did improve a lot in the
yeah,
with Morales. Like there was one fight that he really impressed me. I was like, man, he's getting really good. But I mean, like I said, I was never a fan of fighters switching over to trainers back and forward. I'm not. Well, me, I could talk from experience. I've never done it. I've been with my trainers, for a while. And if we ever do need to make some adjustments, we'll bring somebody into the team, like another set of eyes,
yeah,
that could help us, but never like completely switch my trainers. It's always been the same 3, 4. And it's always like if we think something's not working, then we'll call somebody from with experience that we know that's gonna like help us out in camp.
guidance, un poquito de
A little extra, yeah, a
yeah,
little extra.
that's cool, pero a veces uno pues a lo mejor se siente, uno dice, hey, ¿por qué vas a traer a otro? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. No, and see, that's the good thing about my team. Even with my trainers, man, we have a great stable of fighters. My trainers, I don't think they get the recognition that they deserve. I train with Bobby Ben and Aaron Navarro. Right now, they train Regis Prograis, the 140 WBC champion, and then I think there was talks of him fighting Devin Haney
Yeah,
next. Regis Progress for the WBC, and then they also have Oceanique Foster that beat Ray Vargas at 130 for the WBC title, and I think he's coming up on his first title defense. And I mean, they have a lot of up and coming prospects. Actually, this weekend they have a lot of fighters on a card out there in Atlanta, I believe.
Yeah.
So I mean, they got their guys moving. They're not out there like a lot of the guys like Robert Garcia, and those kind of guys that have all the attention on them. But I mean, they do their work quietly, man, and it works for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I said, you walk in my gym, man, you walk into world champions, world elite, world. Oh well, Austin Trout, you know Austin Trout, right? He trains with us as well. He's there at the gym all the time, and like I said, we have a big stable of fighters that go in there, and I mean, I think it's I think it's the biggest gym here in Houston that gets all the attention because all the pros go there, even the amateurs. You walk in the gym in the morning, man, it's packed with people, and like I said, packed with different kind of. Everybody goes to spar there in the mornings.
Se pone lleno ahí en la mañana temprano. ¿Ah?
Bro, yes, and right now the heat out here. I mean, I know you're out there in Vegas. Y'all probably have some crazy heat, but here in Houston, it's been ridiculously hot. Like the thing is, we have a lot of humidity. Like it's
with the raining.
It hasn't rained, man. It hasn't rained in about shit. I can't remember the last time we had rain. It's been over a month. Zero rain, nothing in the forecast. Even today, we had a couple of sprinkles because there was a hurricane down in Corpus, like 4 or 5 hours from here. But man, we got zero rain, and you know, even that, the humidity out here, it makes it extra hot, man. Like,
yeah.
And then a lot of people think in our gym we have AC. And like, nah, we don't have AC in our gym.
No.
Look, my boy, Drop City Bully, he said a month and a half without rain. I said a month. He said a month and a half. Yeah, man, it's been dry out here. Our grass is dead. Everything, man. Our like it's crazy. It's crazy that we have the day we get rain, man. I don't know. We're not gonna know how to act.
Yeah.
But even at the gym, man, like I said, we have over 40, 50 people in there. No AC. We have a couple of fans that blow hot ass air. But I mean like shit, we grew up like that, but this year I felt like it's been the hottest year ever. I think like every year it fucking gets hotter and hotter. But I mean, like I said, I mean, I grew up like that, and sometimes you just gotta basically bite down on your mouthpiece and say, fuck it, man, come on with it. Like when was it, Monday, I sparred 7 rounds, man. That shit felt like 12. It's like really, really hot out here.
Está bien caliente, ¿ah?
Yeah.
Here too is hot, pero it's, you know, it's hot, pero no muy caliente. Like I remember back in the days, they used to get hella hot, bro. Like,
well, it's dry out there. It's dry, it's real dry out there. Here, you step outside, you're gonna start sweating no matter what. You're gonna start sweating, like, and I sweat a lot, so you're gonna start dripping. You can walk to your car, and you'll be sweating, man.
Yeah. Y ahorita como llovió, there was a lot of they had that Hillary fucking
oh yeah
so it was raining hard, you know. It was pouring con aire, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not out here, man. We need the hurricanes out here right now. No, we don't need the hurricanes, but we need some rain out here right now, man. Like, for real, because you know, this dryness. But like I said, I mean, you can't do nothing but just bite down on your fucking mouthpiece, grab your balls, and even when you're running, man, like running the sun, like, it'll burn your neck. But hey, what can you do? It's that's why, like, usually when I start training camp, I'll start getting my runs in at 5 a.m, you know, before the sun hits. And you know, like a lot of it is like the old school work. You know, back in the day, the OGs, they used to do those 5 a.m. morning runs, and you know, and that's how it would work. You know, nowadays we get too comfortable. We run in the afternoons or en la noche, but you know, back then it was like, nah, you get up at 4 to do your road work at 5.
Like the Rocky movies, no?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, some of it because my dad's still part of my team, part of my training crew, and I mean, he still has me doing like literally like the Rocky movie. Like, he'll have me chop wood, he'll wake me up at 5 a.m, and you know, like when I start camp, there's a couple of nights I'll go over there, stay at my parents, because I live with my family, so I'll go over there, stay with my dad, and shit, he'll come in at 4:30 in the morning, knocking on my door. I'm like, man, Dad, make me feel like I'm a little kid. But hey, that, like I said, that's how I grew up. And to him,
Yep.
I'm not his son. To him, I'm his fighter. So he's, he tries to push me. Like I said, chopping wood. He keeps it real old school. And like we don't do none of that fancy stuff. And
I,
we just keep it real old school.
I think that's cool though because like you said, now they have all this technology now. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
back in the day, I think when you're chopping wood and hitting that tire with the
Yeah,
mic,
exactly. With the sledgehammer. Yep.
you know what I'm
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying like the new technology. Obviously, some of it we use it too. It works for some fighters. I know Lomachenko is real high on that. Technology. He does all the touching and all that light switching shit.
saying?
I mean, it works for him, and you can tell he's a hell of a fighter. I mean, he's one of the best in this era. But I mean, also like back then, the old school fighters they didn't have that. Like you say, they just chopping wood, getting up early, sparring. Like back then, they used to spar a shitload of rounds. I remember that was their camp, like running, sparring, and and chopping wood. That was like part of their camp. You kind of like the Rocky movie when Rocky was doing all the old school work, and then you had Drago doing like all the technology work. So, it works both ways. Like I said, I always tell people that not every way, not the way I do it is right, but that's the way it works for me. And I won't never say somebody the way they do their work is wrong. I'm like, that doesn't work for me. This is what works for me. They do it their way because, that's what works for them. But, I just like to keep it old school and simple basics, hands up and, just a lot of hard work.
Rooster, chasing the rooster like in the movie Rocky, no?
Yeah, something like that, right? You can't catch that rooster, then you ain't going to catch nobody in the ring.
Uh, shit.
Yeah, but I mean, and my trainer too. Like I said, I mean, they have numerous fighters in there, and even everybody. We keep the same method. We each have our own style. Like Regis is a power puncher.
Yeah.
Oceanique Foster, he's a real elusive, fast guy. Me, I'm very technical. So we all have our style, but it goes back to the same thing: work hard, road work, strength work. We don't do nothing crazy like you see sometimes in this. I think sometimes social media has took over, and like
Yeah.
fighters will see all that and they think that's the way to do it, but I'm like, nah. Sometimes even Floyd, when he did all that little tap on the mitts, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not really, that's just there for the cameras. When it's time to fucking dig, he'll really like bite down and like start hitting the mitts for real. Like a lot of these fighters think like, oh, that's how he does mitt work. I'm like, no, that's not how he does mitt work. That's just him being flashy to look good for the camera. Like
Yeah.
he does his real mitt work when all the fucking cameras shut off and all that. He does his real,
Yeah.
work. So like I said, a lot of these fighters think, oh, just because we see that on IG or whatever, that's the way to do it. I'm like, nah, you got to put in that real work. That's the only way to success.
Yeah. Even when he hitting the bag,
Oh
he
yeah.
don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I've seen some videos where he's tapping it, and then I've seen some videos where he gets down and starts like, huffing and puffing. I'm like, okay, he's really hitting that bag. He knows when to turn that switch on, and he does that shit mainly when the cameras ain't there. Because usually when the cameras are there, like I said, he's flashy, he's talking shit. But
Yeah.
a lot of these young kids, they get the wrong impression. They think like, oh, nah, he just tapping. Like, nah, he gets that real work. I heard he's one of the hardest, not one of the. I heard from people saying, nah, he's the hardest fucking working fighter I've ever seen, and that's from people that I really know. Somebody fucking told me one time, like, man, if you ever see Floyd, you would think he doesn't have a fucking penny in his bank account. Like that motherfucker works extra hard, and I believe it too. Because he never got tired in any of his fights.
I seen a video, like actual video footage, and he was showing how his defense, how he blocks and everything. It's just slow motion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like I tell people too, like defense isn't just about slipping and rolling. You got to have real good vision, real good eyes, because it was almost like he saw that punch coming
Yeah. Yeah.
before the fighter even threw it. So
Yeah.
it's not even him slipping or rolling. He just saw it and he was able to just get out the way fast enough. So and his feet were good. He had enough ability in his feet to step out the way
The
and
time.
make you, yeah, the timing exactly. So it's everything, and he had decent speed, he had decent power, to where a guy won't just run up in there and start hooking on him because he knows like, okay, he can still hurt me. But I mean, like to me, I always admire Floyd's style because a lot of people say, "Oh, he runs, he holds." I'm like, man, nah, he's a smart fighter, and he really knows how to get down when it's time to get down.
Yeah, when he the time that he got hurt, like with Maidana
Mostly,
or
and mostly,
thing, you can see like he didn't panic. You know what I'm saying?
nah,
He just
he knew exactly what to do. He held on.
yeah,
Like I said, he got his mind straight. He got his head on straight, and then he came right back and gave it back to him. And that's what makes a great fighter. When he's able to overcome danger like that.
like I seen fighters that can maybe they haven't gone down and they go down. The first thing they do is get up real quick.
Yeah, well, that's just a fighter instinct,
Yeah,
because I mean, I've been dropped, and even now, like now that I've been dropped, and even before, I was like, man, if I'm ever in this situation, if I get dropped in a fight, I'll stay and clear my mind and wait for the 6, 7, 8 to
yeah,
get up. But then when you get dropped, your first thing thinks like, oh shit, I hit the ground. Let me get back up. There you're not thinking. Your body just naturally wants to get back up. So it takes. But then also it depends on how hard you got hit. Because sometimes you don't even realize that you just want to get up right away. And like I said, there's been some ugly ass knockouts, and then I'm like, yeah, he should have just stayed down. He shouldn't have got back up. Or sometimes the ref will let it go longer than it should, and stuff like that. That's when some of the craziest knockouts will happen.
yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, I'm just glad with all the fights that are getting made this year. This is a great year for boxing. Even the starting with I couldn't believe the fucking Ryan Garcia versus Tank fight was happening. I couldn't believe it, and it got made. And then when they announced Crawford Spence, I was like, nah, that can't be happening. It got made, and now
Damn.
we get Canelo Charlo. I'm like, man, that's crazy. This is a great year for boxing. And I'm not trying to brag on my promoter, but it's PBC throwing on
Yeah,
all these big cards. And even now the Charlo versus Canelo undercard. It's a great one, man. You got Barrios, you got Ramos, and then you got the other kids that are going to be on. There's going to be a great card.
yeah. Él es I think we can también el Ubik. I think it was Ubik. What's his name? Heavyweight. I think it's
Oh yeah,
heavyweight,
yeah,
right?
you Usyk. Yeah. He's good. He's in a good fight. Yeah. I know he. I don't really keep up with the heavyweight other than the big names like Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury and Wilder. But like I know Usyk's fighting this weekend and he's in a tough fight, so should be good. Like I said, this is a great year for boxing, man.
Y
And
también,
then last week we had that Vaquero Navarrete and Oscar. That was a good fight. It
yeah,
was a good. I thought it was a good one-sided, fight because I thought Navarrete won comfortably 8 rounds, 9 rounds to 3, 8 rounds to 4. That's what I think. But it was a great fight, man, and that he just. I tell people, man, Vaquero Navarrete does everything you shouldn't do in boxing.
nice.
Everything he fucking jumps in, he pulls straight back, he throws his
Yeah,
punches from way back here, but it worked for him.
yeah,
I'm like he hits hard. You can tell he hits hard. You can tell from the beginning he kind of hit Valdez with a couple of shots that Valdez wasn't eager to get in the exchange with him. He kind of was cautious and stuff like that. But it was a great fight, man. It was a great one-sided fight, and I mean, I think Vaquero gives anybody trouble. At 130.
you think they'll do it again?
I wouldn't want to see it again because I thought it was a dominant performance. I would want to see Vaquero against my stablemate Oceanic Foster. That'll be a good fight. Because Oceanic made Ray Vargas look. I don't know if you saw that fight. That was in February when they fought for the vacant WBC,
Mm-hmm.
and Oceanic made him look like just an average guy. I think Oceanic beat him like 10 rounds to 2, 9 rounds to 3. So I would like to see Oceanic get a shot at Vaquero. I know Vaquero is a big house name, but it'll be fun to watch that Vaquero because Oceanic has really good skills, really good. It's crazy because I was watching Terrence Crawford. And I'm like, Oceanic's almost like a version of Terrence Crawford. He could switch from lefty to righty. He can box. He can get down and dig if he needs to. So that'll be a great fight at 130 for Vaquero Navarrete, and it could be a unification because Oceanic holds the WBC and Navarrete has the WBO, so that'll be a great fight.
What about would you like to see the Spence again con the Crawford or ya no?
Man, to be honest, I didn't. Well, before the fight, we always talk about it with the guys at the gym. We always talk about it with my coaches, and I was going for Spence. Obviously, he's a guy from Texas. You want to see always guys from Texas do good, but I was like, man, I think Crawford is gonna pull it off, and obviously Crawford did pull it off, but I didn't expect it to be
Like that, huh?
like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, he's gonna win. I think he's gonna win. He's just gonna, outwork him or outpower him. But I didn't. He basically, toyed with him. He dominated from round. I didn't think it was gonna be like that. But I wouldn't want to see it again. I don't think it'll. I don't think it will make a difference if they fought at 154. To be honest, I think Terrence does it again, all over again. I think he'll do the same thing and dominate him even at 154. I would actually feel better for if Spence took a couple of fights, about 2 3 fights, and then they went back to that fight. But right now, right off the bat, I don't think he can do anything different to beat Terrence Crawford.
Yeah. What about can't remember his name right now. I think he was calling him out. He was saying, "Oh, they started wanting him to Crawford."
Boots.
Who is this guy? Jennings?
Yeah, yeah, Boo Tennis. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, he has good skills too. I've seen him fight. I've seen a couple of his fights. He's been doing what he's supposed to do with these fighters. He's
Yeah.
beating them, but um, he hasn't really fought a name out there that you could say, oh man, he beat this dude or like a. Well, even then, these guys probably won't even fight him, like Danny Garcia or what's the other guy at 147 that's really good? The one that beat Barrios.
¿Cómo se llama este?
The one with the ponytail. I don't think those
Oh,
guys will go.
uh, Keith Thurman.
Thurman, Thurman. I don't think Thurman or any of those guys with big names will fight Jerome Ennis because they're like it's all risk and no reward. Because like I said, Ennis hasn't fought nobody, but you could tell that motherfucker could fight.
Yeah.
He could fight his ass off, and he has skills. And even now, Crawford said it too. He's like, I don't get nothing. I don't gain nothing from fighting him. If I beat him, oh well, he was a green guy that I beat. And if I don't, then it's too much risk, no reward. But I think Ennis might be in a bad position right now because he's a dude that can fight, but he has no value, no name to his, Well, he's a no name to the big name guys. Like I said, Danny Garcia, Thurman, and all those guys. They're all trying to fight each other to make the big bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of people would think, oh, this guy's scared of that guy, or this guy don't want to fight that guy because he's scared. It's crazy because as fighters, man, we know what we're in. I don't think there's any boxer out there that's scared to fight nobody. It's just always about business.
Yeah.
Man, you got to go with what makes money and what makes sense. You're not gonna take a beating from a guy and not get paid when you get the big bucks. It's like Charlo. Oh, I know he was in line to fight Tim too for the WBO, and then he said he got the call, hey, do you want to fight Canelo? And like, of course I want to fight Canelo. You're talking about making maybe 2-3 million to making 10 million plus is a no-brainer. No, anybody would do it, So as for like fans that say, oh, this guy's scared to fight that guy now, like fighters aren't scared. We just always trying to make the best moves or the best business because of our future. You do have a lot of the old school fighters that, man, they had great fights but now they have no money or they're sick. And I'm not saying it's bad, but boxing just changed a lot. Now it's all about what makes money and what makes business sense.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know, like they don't know what happens behind the scenes where like you say, when they start the dealing, the
Yeah, it's a lot of negotiations, man. That's why actually I like what Spence and Crawford did because they both kind of gave in from both sides to make that fight happen. Yeah, Spence, it goes like I tell people, man, it goes as far as like a fight will not happen because either fighter A or fighter B don't agree on who's gonna walk first. That's crazy.
That's
I'm
crazy.
like, yeah, I'm like, if they're both, and people don't realize that. I'm like, if they're both champions, and
Yeah.
champion A says, nah, I'm not walking out second, and champion B says, nah, you're walking out, and it won't happen. They'll be like, all right, well, fuck it, it won't happen. And like these guys, I know they had a coin toss, and there
Yeah.
was a lot of things that Spence did, because we all know Spence was the A side, the big draw, and he gave up a lot of that stuff to allow the fight to happen. So that's why I'm like, man, that's always good. And even with the Ryan Garcia and Tank fight, Ryan gave up a lot of the stuff happen, because he knew he gave up the rehydration clause, he gave up all that stuff to make the fight happen. So I'm like, you got to give props to these dudes because they're doing things to make
Yeah.
these big fights happen for our entertainment. So it's always good to see guys step up and do stuff like that.
But you know what? Like you say right now, like back in the days, like Chavez, and you seen all these other fighters, Camacho. You never seen them worried about who's gonna come out first or yo primero. You see them.
Yeah, yeah. But
They still
well,
go in the ring and fight,
I
regardless.
I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I guess I'll consider myself. Well, fighters nowadays we're divas. We want everything done our way because that's the way like boxing has developed. Like I said, you can't ever compare a fighter from back in the day to a fighter
Yeah.
from now.
Los make
Yeah,
mejor que salgan los dos juntos.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the question I think that gets thrown a lot in boxing is that Chavez got to 89-0 and Floyd only got to 50. I'm like, but it's a different era. Look at the fighters that Chavez was fighting. There's a couple of guys in there
That are.
that he took as tune-up fight, as stay busy fights.
Mhm.
Imagine if Floyd, when he was active, would have fought like a guy that was like 20 and 15. We would have been like, what the fuck? Who's he fighting? And that's what Chavez was doing to build up the record. Of course, there still wins, but it's just different. It's just different eras. You can't compare boxing from back then to boxing from now. And I'm not saying that Floyd would beat Chavez or Chavez, but it's just different eras. You can't compare. You can't. It's like already when Crawford beat Spence, they're already talking who wins, Crawford or Floyd at 147. I like, man, don't compare them.
Crazy.
And
Yeah.
enjoy them. Enjoy that we have that great. That we have that great American, fan and we have that great boxing in America, man. Like everything happens, all the great boxing happens in America, man. Enjoy it. Y'all don't have to compare who wins, who would have won. Like, nah, don't worry about all that. It's just they're great fighters. Floyd's era was in the 2000s, and now Crawford is in this last 10 years. So it's great for boxing.
Shit, I think I would probably I wouldn't even worry about who's gonna come if I would come out first. I'd be worried about who's gonna come out with me. ¿Cuál banda? ¿Cuándo?
Yeah, cuál banda, right? Exactly. Well, no, the first fight, man, that I had where I walked out second, I think it was probably the Leo Santa Cruz fight.
Yeah.
And I didn't even like when I walked in there, my song played, I walked in there, and before I knew it, I had fucking Leo in front of me throwing punches. So it's like
Yeah.
it's quick, man. It's like it happened. You don't even notice it. But when you're watching from home, it feels like, man, that's a long time. The guy's already been there, and this guy's barely walking. Like when you're in there, you're just like in the zone. And
Yeah.
even when I fought Mares, like I walked out first, and then Mares walked out with his singer, and I didn't even realize it till after the fight. They said, "Oh yeah, he walked out with I think it was Omar Chaparro, or I don't know who he walked out with." And I'm like, man, I didn't even know. Like that's how concentrated I was, to where I walked out, I was in the ring, and before I knew it, we're already fighting. I didn't even realize like he took 5-10 minutes to get in the ring because you're just basically in the zone and you're there to fight.
'Cause I remember back in the days cuando hacían las peleas like when Vargas fought Trinidad and all
Yeah,
that, and they did that big old.
yeah, that bigger wall.
Yeah, yeah,
That was one of the best. That was one of the best entrances
yeah,
ever, man. That was a badass. That was a dope entrance. I'm not even
yeah.
gonna lie. That was a nice entrance. And even when Barrero would fight Morales, they were, if you go back and watch those fights, man, salían con banda. They would come out with banda and everything. But that was back then. Like they didn't even pay that much mind to it. Nowadays, like I
Yeah,
said, fighters we're more divas. Like we want our time, we want our own space, and all that stuff. So sometimes at the end of the day, we still got to fight. We still got to get down in the ring with whoever's across from the ring from you.
I think somebody came out on a horse one time. Se me hace que fue
Arce,
¿no?
it was Arce.
Really?
Arce,
Arce?
I know Arce
Yeah,
did it. Arce came out on the horse one time.
yeah,
I know Arce did it in I think it was somewhere in, if it was in Mexico, was it at the Alamo Dome? But I know it was Arce that came out on the horse, and I know somebody else did it. Somebody else did it, but Arce was, he came out on the horse
yeah.
with his lollipop. I remember
For
that
that.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
But
dope. It's one of with
Arce
unique entrances.
también sale ahí también en el with Morales, huh? He comes down there. He's funny, bro. He has me cracking.
Oh yeah, yeah, because they talk a lot of shit back and
Yeah,
forward to each other.
yeah, yeah. He's pretty cool though. He's funny as fuck.
Yeah, they're all cool, man. Like I said, they're all real OGs, and they know the sport, and they know boxing from up down, man. And that's why I like to watch it, because believe it or not, sometimes you take a lot of the stuff, how they even how they may weight, how their weight cuts are. So sometimes you'll hear how they're doing stuff, and I'm like, shit, I don't do things too much different from them. Then,
Yeah.
because sometimes you don't have that somebody looking out for you, or you just kind of do things how you think you should do them. But then you hear those guys tell their stories on how they cut weight and they drop about 8 pounds the week of the fight. I'm like, okay, shit. What I'm not doing things too bad. I'm doing it how the real champions did it back in the day.
Did you see the Oscar De La Hoya new documentary? You didn't watch it?
I haven't watched it. That's on HBO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
I haven't watched that one. I need to take a look at it. There's a lot of I know there's a lot of documentaries going with the fighters. I know there's one for what's the MMA guy or that Floyd fought, Conor McGregor. I know
yeah.
there's one on Netflix for Conor McGregor, so it's good. Like it's always good that combat sports get the fighters get their stories out there told. And I know I gotta watch that Oscar De La Hoya, because I know I saw a couple of his interviews where he said it, man. He's like, I was in really dark places, and
Yeah.
it wasn't bad. And even like I said again, with the one round mas, you get to hear the fighter stories, how a lot of these fighters, man, they're like, man, we had money, we had fame, we started doing drugs, we started doing like heavy shit, and you're like, man, that's crazy. And they're like, man, before we knew it, we're broke. And like the one I would recommend you to watch if you haven't already was the Jose Luis Maestrito Lopez. That's a really good one, because he's a good solid fighter, man, like really really good. And he was like, he was one step away from fighting De La Hoya. He was world champion. I think he was WBO world champion. He knocked out Yuri Boy Campas,
Mm-hmm.
and he got a draw with Ike Corte.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks about how after he fought, he said that they paid 50K to fight Shane Mosley. He said that was like a slap in
Mm-hmm.
the face when they offered me that. So then he talks about how that was his downfall. Like after that, I just felt like boxing was useless to me, so I started doing like drugs, heavy shit. So it's really good for what Barrera and Morales are doing to get fighters stories out there, so that younger fighters like me and the younger generation don't fall into those wrong steps. Because man, it's so easy when you got money and fame, man. You have so many friends, you have so many family members that you don't even know, and exactly. So it's good that they tell their story, so fighters don't fall into those same bad footsteps.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched that. De La Hoya is pretty good, man. I'm not gonna spoil it for you,
Yeah.
but you watch it. I mean, it makes you think, bro. It makes you think and say, damn, really? Like, so that's good,
Yeah,
man.
and we always criticize like fighters. Like I know De La Hoya is one of the fighters that probably gets criticized the most, just because people don't. I don't know, because he's a good looking fucking fighter. I don't know, but that motherfucker could fight, man. That motherfucker had one of the best boxing styles ever. Even growing up, man, his left hook, everything was just so compact about him. He was a great, great fighter. And imagine somebody like that, and with all the money in the world, if they could fall into the wrong footsteps, I mean, we all should learn from him, And
Yeah.
now he's a businessman, and now it looks like he got his path back in the right direction.
Yeah, and a lot of things that people don't understand is that when you're at that level and that fame, especially he was young, and when he started, he's saying that he didn't even have a chance when he cuando menos lo pensó ya.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like I said, that's the thing. When you're fighting, you're making the money, you're on TV, you got new friends, you got new family members. But sometimes, man, when you lose, it's just you in a fucking hotel room and your trainers, and you're really only close friends, which is your family. That's the only people that's there because everybody else is gone. Everybody else right away. And like I said, social media has took over. Nowadays, as soon as you lose a fight, or as soon as you look like shit, he's a bum.
Se te acaba.
That's how it is. That's the cruel side of boxing, man. That's why I tell fighters, man, don't get too comfortable because this shit goes up, and then before you know it, man, you'll be back down.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, oh, you lose one fight, y ya todos, you suck.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's how it is, man. Because boxing has some of the greatest fans, but also some of the most hardcore, you know, fans also. Because they'll, like I said, they'll have you up here 1 minute, y al día siguiente, pues ya te dan de bajada. And like you said, man, you're a bum. You were never really that good, and oh man, you were sorry and stuff like that. But it comes with it. You got to be strong minded too as a fighter. You can't let stuff like that, because if you start paying attention to every single person that down talks on you, then
Yeah,
you won't be done.
you won't do it. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But I
yeah. You got to be strong minded as a fighter. You always have to be.
even sometimes here on social media, I sometimes I read the comments that people write to other people. Man, it's like, ooh, like, what I'm saying?
It ain't shit really personal, huh?
Crazy, man. Y digo yo, wow, like normally, like, do they even know that the other person también tiene feelings? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Exactly, but I mean that, like I said, you gotta be strong-minded, and I know I've seen some of the younger fighters, and I always like to give like the guys at my gym. I always try to give them like advice on it, bro. Don't ever pay no mind to that. It's obviously you gotta. At the end of the day, too, those are the people that pay to see you fight. So I'm like, you can't sit
yeah,
there and argue with all of them.
and
You just gotta take the good comments with the good ones, and then the bad ones just fucking leave them
all that
out. And
they're sending you shit that talk shit are the first ones to run up to you and ask you for a fuck.
exactly, man. That's
Okay?
one thing that I've said. I have people talk shit, and I would see messages, and then next thing they'll be in my DMs. Hey, can I get a pair of gloves signed from you or shit like that? Can I get a shirt? And I'm like, you're not gonna sit there and talk shit back. You just kind of ignore it. Like, man, whatever. You kind of know who's fake and who's the real people out there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a veces, ¿cómo se dice? Like the true fan. You know when you have the true fan because te empiezan a mirar desde the beginning. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
since day one, and trust me, we all have those. I have those people that would still like, even now, man, I went to your early fights, or I always watched your fights, or even after a loss, they'll be there like, man, bro, don't feel bad, man. You'll be back. You're a great fighter, or you could still be world champ. And those are the fans that sometimes motivate you and keep you going. People that you don't even know, those are the people that will motivate you and keep you going, and push you, help you push that extra mile.
One of the fighters that I started watching when he first started, he was fighting here in Las Vegas, and he used to fight at the Orleans Arena, and they used to charge like back in the days they used to charge like 20-25 bucks just to get in to go watch him fight.
Mhm.
That was Miguel Cotto.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Miguel Cotto and I started watching him. Nomás un día fui and I was watching him. Me and my wife we went watching him, and I was like, damn, that dude, he's gonna be somebody watching. Lo estaba mirando.
Yeah, you can tell from the
Yeah,
style. Yeah, that how.
I was
Yeah.
like undercard, and he was just good, bro. Like,
Yeah, no,
man,
he was a solid guy. He had a really nice boxing style. I mean, I always liked the way Cotto fought, hands up, chopping their head, and throw. He had a beautiful left hook to the body. So, guys like that, you always can tell they're gonna go far.
when he fought Floyd, that was a good fight. I mean,
Yeah, he gave, even at the end of his career, he still gave Floyd, a good run for his money, and that was towards the end. I always thought that he wasn't the same after that first Margarito fight, but even then, after that first Margarito fight, he still gave us great fights. Even when he fought Canelo, I didn't think he beat Canelo, but he still gave a competitive fight, and he still, like I said, he gave young Canelo a good run for his money.
yeah, that was pretty good fight, man. He did good.
Yeah, he did good, and like I said, that was toward the end of his career. So you could always tell a good fighter from day one when you see him.
Yeah. So what do you think about the Canelo Charlo? ¿Le vas al Canelo, no?
I mean, it's gonna be a good fight, man. I don't know how people think that Canelo's automatically gonna be the bigger guy because Charlos, man, I've seen the Charlos at the gym and they're big dudes. They're naturally like they walk around like at fucking 190, 195. So they're big dudes, both of them. And it's just that he's a 150. He's like he's a big dude fighting at 154. So even at the press conference, you can tell the size advantage. That ain't even that much. Obviously Canelo's a favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised, man. And Charlo can punch. That's the thing about a fighter like that too. When you have that one knockout explosive power, man, you could switch the fight around in any you could switch the fight around in any round.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't count Charlo out, but I also think that Canelo's he's developed to be a great boxer puncher, but he hasn't looked good his last two fights. That's Canelo. He when he fought
Right?
that's yeah, when he fought Ryder, he didn't look that good, and obviously the loss with Bivol, he didn't look that good. But I'm sure he's focused, and I'm sure he's going to turn up for this fight because he knows Charlo's a real dude. He knows Charlo's coming to fight, and Charlo. One thing about those guys, they train hard. You can tell they train hard. So it's going to be a great fight, and I mean, like I said, I think it's a 50-50 fight. A lot of people are favoring Canelo because of the weight, but like I said, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Are you gonna come to Vegas to watch it or what?
Probably not, man. Like I said, I'm waiting for this.
Right?
Hopefully, I can finalize my fight this weekend. Hopefully, God willing, and that means I'll be into camp straight up for the next 7 weeks, and I probably won't be able to make it out there, but I'm for sure gonna be watching. Like I said, it's a great undercard. You got a Barrios, Ugas, and you got one other guy I like a lot, Ramos. He's really good. El Mono, I know you've seen him. He fought on the Caleb and Benavidez undercard. He's a real good fighter. So like I said, man, that fight card is stacked, and even the opener. I know that one of the kids is undefeated. I seen him fight. I can't think of his name, but it's gonna be a great. It's worth whatever they're gonna charge, and I know the pay-per-view prices are up to $85-$95, but shit is with that lineup. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be worth it.
What about oiga, also también el Benavides también they said he's gonna fight. I forgot. I don't know if they have. They've been
I think
talking.
it said Demetrius, no? Demetrius Andre. I think that's who he's. Yeah. That should be a good fight. Demetrius is always won the big fights, so hopefully now finally he gets to have one of the big fights he's been asking for. Because I know a lot of fighters kind of. He's another one of those situations where it's a high risk, no reward. Because he could fight, but a lot of the fans don't know him, and he doesn't bring a lot of money to the table. But I mean, finally he's getting a big fight, and shit. Benavidez, shit. We saw what he can do with Caleb Plant, and even Caleb Plant came to fight, but Benavidez kind of overwhelmed them. So that's gonna be a good fight if it happens with Benavidez and Demetrius Andre.
I wanted to see Benavides pero pues ya ves, you know how it is.
Who's that? Benavidez and Canelo?
Yeah.
That would have been a good fight, man. Just because it's Mexico versus Mexico, you always want to see two Mexicans go at it. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens next year. Now that Canelo's working with PBC, it can always happen next year, hopefully in May or September. But tell you one thing though, the longer that Canelo waits to fight Benavidez, the bigger of a chance that Benavidez is gonna have, because Benavidez is about to hit his prime right now, and Canelo, we all saw he's kind of already coming back down on the downhill. So if I was Canelo, I would try to fight him ASAP, right after this fight, like try to fight him hopefully in May, so he can have a better chance of still getting Benavidez.
Y la pelea ¿sí miraste la pelea de Ceniza Estrada en
Um, what was that girl's name? I remember that girl. But yeah, I saw clips of it. It was a tough fight. I heard it was a tough fight. Well, from what I saw too, that girl was fighting back, but Sinisa, she's up there like top 5 pound for pound in the women's boxing, so she's really good. One fight that I always, kind of wanted to see the rematch was Senisa and Marlene, because I remember it ended like in the 8th round because of a cut or
Yeah.
something. So yeah. So that's one fight that I always, and they kind of had beef with each other. So that's one fight that I always wanted to watch again. But with women's boxing, it sucks that they don't get as much attention as they should. Because there's great women fighters out there. That you got Serrano, Katie Taylor. You got all those great women fighters, and even in the lower weights, you have, like you say, Senisa, Marlene, and they all put up great fights. Sometimes they're more exciting than the men fights. Yeah.
That that fought Alicia Baumgartner.
Oh yeah. I saw that. Well, she's going into
That
all that beef with the positive test, man, and I don't like to talk much about it because you never know. But if your shit says you're guilty, then you can't do nothing about it. Because to me, it's like you know exactly what goes in your body as a fighter. Especially when you're in a training camp, you kind of follow the same routine. Drink your water, drink coffee, have your meals, have the same person prepare your meals. So, when something goes in your body, you know what you put in your body. You can't say, oh, I didn't know, or, oh, this happened or that. Man, come on, man. Like, you know exactly what you inhale, or what you put in your body when you're in camp. So,
yeah.
a lot of that stuff, even when Canelo had that meat situation and when Oscar Valdez had all that, I was like, man, come on. Like, guys, y'all know what y'all put in your body. Like, it's no secret. Like, you're not hiring. You shouldn't be hiring new stuff or trying new stuff, especially when you're in camp for a big fight like that.
No fue la adobada. You don't think it was adobada, carne de adobada que le habían dado?
Yeah, right. That's what Canelo said. No.
Uh,
Yeah, exactly. So no, but I mean, like I said, I'm glad all these big fights are happening right now this year, and we still got what, about 3-4 months to go. So hopefully we can keep getting stacked cards and big fights. And like I said, hopefully for me, it'll be on a big card. So hopefully when they do give me the green light to announce it, hopefully y'all gonna see it's gonna be a big card that it's gonna be on.
I don't know if you saw, but cuando se acabó la pelea de Celisa Estrada, that the champ, what's her name? She went up in the ring. I think it was
Yeah. The was it the Asian girl, right? Or no?
no, it was
Oh, the Mexican.
Yucasta, Yucasta, Yucasta.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I did see that. Yeah.
Speak Spanish. I forget her name though. I no me acuerdo ni del
Creo que
nombre.
sí vi algo de eso que se subió al cuadrilátero cuando
Yeah,
acabó la pelea. She has 2 belts or something, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
And Ceniza has 2 belts, so they're gonna unify.
she has a woman trainer. I forget her name though. I can't remember her name, but sí, I don't know. That I think that'd be a good fight too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's what they would say. That's next. No, and they're gonna unify.
Hmm. That one's gonna be good, and there's a lot of fights, bro. Like
Nah, like I said, it's a good time to be a boxing fan because even me as a fighter, you still want to watch great fights, and I'm glad we're getting a lot of these great fights and great cards. Like I said, I'm really excited yesterday that they had the lineup for the Canelo card.
the one,
Canelo,
the one,
there's gonna be a great card.
la que yo me quedé con la espinita todavía es la de your fight con Mares. Güey. That's the one.
Yeah, well, I can't, like I said, I can't blame Morris for
Yeah,
not. I don't know if he didn't want the rematch or whatnot, but you know, me, of course, I wanted it because, like I said, that's a great name to have on your resume. But of course, I think he's comfortable with the Showtime shit. I would be comfortable too. Shit, if I had a commentating job on Showtime, because he still gets to be on all the big cards and he still gets to fly to all the big fights. So why does he have the need to box? But we're always here, man. Like I always tell my manager and my trainer, man, if he ever wants the rematch or whatnot, then shit, don't even have to call me. Just tell me when the fight is gonna be, and I'll be there. But I understand probably from his business point of view, he's comfortable commentating for Showtime, and that's fine. And I'm also probably sure that he probably wants a bigger name fight. Maybe one I heard somewhere that he wanted the trilogy with Leo Santa Cruz, which why I don't know because he lost to Leo already twice, or he probably wants a big name where he's gonna get a lot of money and cash out.
But I don't know. Sometimes, I know he be watching. Sometimes he be going on here and watching the videos and everything.
Yeah.
And there's times where I hit him up and I told him, hey, let's do a interview. Blah blah. Me dice que sí, pero que está ocupado y que
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, he's a busy guy. I'm
yeah.
sure he has his family and stuff. And see, me too. I had my family. I had to put my kids to sleep before I got on live. So I
Yeah.
understand. Like I said, he's a busy guy. And like I said, he don't have no need to fight again if he has that Showtime job commentating and stuff like that. Why would he have the need to fight a young guy again when he already did it once and we just got a draw? But I mean, if I was him, I would want to clear that draw. I want to make it clear that either I win or I lose. But he has his reasons, which I would never question a fighter on why he doesn't want to get in the ring.
Yeah. Good man.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I wish you the best, bro. Like,
No, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Like I said, man, as soon as I get finally the green light on this fight, which hopefully by this weekend, we should know a lot more on it. And trust me, y'all gonna be surprised. It's gonna be a big card. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
you're gonna do it. You don't know yet where you're gonna do it, huh? Todavía no sabes.
No, we don't know yet. Like I said, we just know the tentative date. It'll be October 13th. So like I said, it's about 7 weeks out. So like I said, as soon as I get the green light, trust me, I'll be posting it, and y'all be the first ones to know that we're back in the ring, and hopefully it gets made.
You know what? Before we go, one more thing I wanted to ask you. What do you think about bringing the referees having the replay on boxing? What do you think about that?
Man, it's like when soccer started adding the bot to the games, it kind of clicks out a little bit of the momentum of the game, or it'll cancel out a little bit of the momentum of the fight. Maybe if it's like in between rounds, that'll be a good thing. Like if it was a headbutt or a punch, because real quick before I fought, one of my defeats that on my record, it shows that I got stopped in the 5th round was exactly because of that. I fought a Chris Avalos, who is a tough fighter, and we started the fight. It was a toe-to-toe fight, and then I dropped them in the 3rd round, I believe. And then coming into the 4th round, I got cut. I had 3 cuts, so I had cut here, and I think there was another cut over here. So coming into the 5th round, the doctor advised the ref to stop the fight. So they stopped the fight, and they said the cuts were from a punch. So initially the ref had said just on video that the cuts were from headbutts, and they clearly showed the replay. I think Sergio Mora, and I remember who else was commentating that night, and they're like, it's unbelievable. It's like one of the worst decisions we've seen in boxing, because I was clearly up on the scorecards. I had already dropped them, but if instant replay would have been there that night, I would have been awarded a technical decision, because like I said, I was up on the scorecard. So I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea maybe to try it out, because I think haven't they tried it out already a couple of times?
I
The
don't.
Yeah, because I remember one time this kid from San Antonio, Joshua Franco, fought on ESPN, and he had like a big old mouse, and they said they didn't know if it was from a punch or a thumb or something like that, and they ended up
That's right. That's correct.
yeah, they ended up ruling it a no contest or something like that. So I'm like, okay, they did the right thing. But then again, they took like fucking 10, 15 minutes to make that final decision. Yeah. So by then, like, okay, the fight's over, and so I think they gotta be a little bit like, just give it a couple, maybe a minute max to like make a decision, and if not, just keep the fight going.
I think it would be good if they did it in between rounds. In between rounds, while they're in the corners, and just if they're gonna do the instant replay, do it again, make sure what happened. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because they can't kill too much time, especially not in a boxing fight. They can't have you waiting for over 5 minutes and then resume the fight, or then make a decision, I think. But it would be a good thing to have, like you said, just a minute in between rounds. And if they don't come into a decision, then just keep it going, keep the fight going how it was, and keep the decision that the ref made.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a good thing to have because trust me that I mean on my record it says I have 4 losses, but everybody that watched that fight kind of know. And then that night, man, I had a rough. And then we always worked on getting that rematch with that kid, and we never ever were able to finalize it. But that was a rough night for me because trust me, I was winning the fight. I didn't even feel like I was losing, like I lost that night because like I had already dropped them. I was dominating the fight. I was up like 2-3 points on the scorecards. And then they said that and on my record, it'll show that he stopped me in the 5th round.
Yeah.
And it was because of a punch that caused a headbutt, but it was all bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, I think I heard that they were trying to see if they could put that in there. A ver si pueden hacerlo.
Yeah. I would, like I said, man, there's going to be people favored in it, and then there's going to be people against it, which, like I said, as long as it don't take too long
Yeah.
for them to make a decision, I think it might work for a couple of times that it's needed. Only if it's really needed, not just for any little bullshit, thing.
Yeah. Alrighty, Miguel. Thank you so much, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you, chopping it up, man. And I wish you the best with your promotion too. That you help, like I said, you always help fighters get on here and tell a little bit of how we're doing and kind of kicking it with you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And let me know. Keep me posted on your fight and everything, man. And shoot, man.
Absolutely, man. As soon as I know, I promise you, you're gonna be one of the first people to know, and we'll get back on here to talk about it because it's gonna be a lot of fun. This next one.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you. You
All
guys
right.
have a good night. All right.
Good night.